Hello, good morning to all. I hope the screen is visible. Can you just give a thumbs up if I'm audible too? Can you all hear me? Once again, good morning to all and welcome to today's webinar. Thank you all for joining today's session. Hope you all are doing good. Myself, Malavika, I am part of the product management team of Zoho One. I'll be handling today's discussion. Joining with us is Sharon, product marketer with Zoho One team. We'll also have Vishak Ramanathan, product manager with Zoho Directory team, who will be joining us and assisting us in the Q&A. In case you face any issue or you would like to revisit any slides in the middle of the webinar, do let us know via the chat. Either way, we'll be sharing the recorded version of this particular webinar to your respective mail IDs. Also, we'll be having a 15-minute dedicated Q&A session where you can raise your queries and both Sharon, myself, and Vishak will be answering them. Very much looking forward for an active participation from your side. So yeah, the chat widget is all yours. Let's move on to today's topic, security and device management. So yeah, the topic for today's session is security and device management, and my agenda will be to talk a little bit about the kind of security threats that we have in our day-to-day life, followed by how Zoho One can effectively help in mitigating through these problems. We'll then be talking about the recently released feature with some of the best practices that the businesses can potentially use to save your account from any sort of external threats. And by the end of the session, we'll be getting a glimpse of device management. Before diving deep into this topic, let's just try to understand how the security threats are and how the work applications have evolved over the decades. It started in the late 1980s or the 1990s with the internet boom. People started looking for the internet as one of the major points. And then slowly, by the time it was 2000, it moved on to cloud computing. People who mostly use the on-premise applications slowly started moving on to the cloud-based applications. And today is the era of hybrid work. See how much it has evolved. Now, the hybrid work environments is what we have. Along with that, we also have the generative AI in place. It has actually evolved a lot from what we see in the 90s, starting from the time of internet boom until today, where the generative AI, things have pretty much evolved. So how you adopt to new technologies and how these technologies are getting inculcated in your businesses, that has also changed and evolved. With that, this kind of security threats that we face has also exponentially increased. So yeah, this slide is a bit of stats that we have collected from mBroker. So there are a lot of cyber security attacks that are out these days who are ready to sort of steal your data as soon as it's available. So talking about this kind of security threats that we have, this is a sample stat that we've collected from this website. So as per mBroker, it says that by the time it's 2025, the global cyber crime are expected to grow by 15%, which is 10.5 trillion. And also 4 out of 5 breaches are somehow linked to your passwords. These are some of the common stats that actually make us wonder. You need to really have a strong security mechanism in place to protect your account from any sort of external threats for that matter. So if you look at this stat, most of us might actually wonder, I don't really have to care about it because it's not affecting me personally. But is that so? No, it largely affects the enterprise business. Well, that's not really the case. 43% of the businesses that are affected by the cybersecurity attacks are predominantly SMBs. So if you take SMBs can fall under any bucket. It can be an organization that has just 100 employees, 200 employees, or be it 300 employees. But then the amount that you see here, the $3.3 million breach per year, is a very big number for any sort of SMBs. So that's how the security threats are these days. Now let's talk about some of the cybersecurity case studies that we have seen around the SMBs. This is just for your understanding, and it's majorly to show that these sort of threats exist and it is real. So the first major cybersecurity attack that we see around is the phishing attacks. Now, what are phishing attacks? So you might be aware of this, but still I'll give a brief about it. Cyber phishing emails or phishing attacks are a sort of cyber attacks that sends you emails, messages. At first glance, it'll look as if it's from a very genuine website, but that is not the case. So this is a case study. This is a threat that has really happened. Based on this phishing attack, let's say based on that, there's a simple case study that we've gathered. So this is about a CEO of a boutique hotel who lost around $1.1 million as he assumed that he got an email from the IRS, thinking that he clicked on a link that he assumed that was from the IRS official website, and that actually got all of his money from his bank accounts, which potentially costed him close to $1.1 million loss. So yes, the cyber threats are real, the attacks are real, and yes, there are businesses that face this sort of loss. So moving on to the next security attack, it's keylogger. Now, keylogger is typically a hardware or software that gets installed in your machine without even you noticing it. You might have actually seen it in some of the series. So what it does is that every keystroke that you make, the data is being automatically sent to the hacker, which potentially gives that hacker access to all of your businesses or bank-related informations. So something similar that happened to a construction company. So this is the case study here. You can read it out. I'll just brief it up. So yeah, which potentially gives them, access to all sort of information. So that's what the keylogger does. The information that connecting to the keylogger, there's a business that typically lost around $550,000 by getting attacked via this keylogger. So this is also a sort of cybersecurity threat or attack that's faced these days. Next is the physical theft. So this is where a person, so here we'll be talking about one case where a person was attacked with his laptop. So it was potentially stolen, which gave the hackers access to 40,000 medical records. So this we can count it, even though it's a physical theft, it can be considered as a cybersecurity attack. The reason being, the device that was lost was an unencrypted device. So the reason we are stressing out on the cybersecurity threat is that it always connects back to all your data. All that they want is the data connected to your applications. Bringing back to the previous slide, see, again, if you look at the stats here, it's all linked to one particular word, which is the password. If someone has got access to your password, they potentially have access to every single set of information, right from your customer information, your bank information, or any personal information. So how do you think Zoho is providing a solution for this? So how is it being effectively solved when a lot of these threats are happening around? Also at a time where most of your data is being stored online, is stored in the, let's say you are a Zoho One user, all this data is getting stored in Zoho, in your account. So how is it getting protected? So yeah, so the next slides or today's session, a part of today's session, which is the security, will be about that, what Zoho One has got to offer. So far we talked about the threats outside, the case studies. Next, let's play a simple game. Let's try to understand how secure the password that you keep for yourself are. So I'm going to drop in 5 different password patterns. So you can just, gauge yourself, and at the end of it, you can just give yourself points. We'll probably identify how much you have scored. So the first one is, these are some of the pointers that you have to keep in mind. So you might be already having passwords. Just give a random password. Just write a random password and see how it goes. Never reuse a password. Your passwords, if you ever reuse your password, let's say you're using the same password for your Gmail as well as your mobile phone login, then it does not make sense. You're just reusing your password, and it's easy for a hacker to crack it. So yeah, there, if you're someone who does that, you lose a point there. But you're someone who does not reuse the password, yes, you gain a point there. Next pointer is, never keep your birthdays or anniversaries or your partner's birthdays or your children's birthdays as your passwords, because again, that's also very easy for the hackers to crack it out. And yes, this is also crucial. A lot of us who got 1 pointer for this first 2 points might be using dictionary words. Again, if you use a dictionary word, it's easy it is relatively difficult, but it's still something the system as well as hackers can crack. So no names of close contacts, as well as, it's always recommended that you use a mixture of uppercase, lowercase, and alphanumeric characters. This is something you see it as suggestion in many of the accounts that you sign up in various websites, but still, yeah. So let's see. You can just give a score for yourself. If you got 1 point for all the 5 points that I said, yes, you scored 5, which is really good. So that's how you should keep a password. So yeah, let's move on to another small game. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of these dictionary words, a lot of the passwords that the hackers have, they're all exposed to the outside world. In fact, there are a lot of websites these days that actually provides you a list of password if you're looking to it. Let's say you're a hacker who's looking to hack into someone's account. You can just go to these websites and get some of the passwords, give it a try. A lot of times it actually really works. So that's the reality of the whole hacking that's happening around us. Let's just look at a password cracker. Let's say you keep a password that's like this. It's a dictionary word. Along with it, you have some numbers. It takes 57 minutes for the system or hackers to crack this. Now, let's say you use another dictionary word, which is Montreal, along with a special character and numbers. It takes possibly 2 hours for it to be cracked. Next, let's say we are using something like a dictionary name. It's a name, and then you use a combination of alphanumeric character as well as numbers. You have a semicolon in between. It takes about 10 days to be cracked. Also, it's a combination of uppercase and lowercase, right? Yeah. And colon is something that is not that very common in passwords. So yeah, that's why the 10 days. And also, usually people don't keep a symbol like plus after the number. It's always in between. The character usually comes in between. So that's why it shows 10 days. Now, let's say instead of a dictionary word, English dictionary word, you're using something of your local language. So I've used here something from the Tamil language. So in that case, it's not something. It's not a dictionary word that can be cracked easily. So yeah, it takes about 2 years for the system to be cracked. Now let's say the same thing again with a combination of alphanumeric codes and numbers, a colon and a plus in the after. It'll take you close to 30 plus years. So this is how So every time you create a password, make sure that it's something like this. It's at least something like the case 4 or 5. So that's how you can keep your system more secure. So yeah, I was just what I was trying to do is I was just trying to show the relevance of keeping a password that's hard to crack. Next, let's move on to talk about how Zoho One can effectively help you in solving all these problems. So, the first thing is, as I mentioned earlier, all the security threats that we talked about, it's all connected to one particular component of your account, which is the password. So, if you tend to keep a very simple password for your account, there are high chances that your account details might be stolen. So, for that, we have the password policy in Zoho One that lets you to keep your account secure. So let's say if you're a business owner who's managing the business, the password policy in Zoho One sort of helps you to make sure all your employees set a strong password for your account. We have a lot of different criteria for setting the password policy, starting right from yeah. If you can take a closer look here, you'll understand better. Yeah, uh, starting from the maximum length of the password or the minimum numeric digits, so forth and so on. Along with that, we have a feature that has been recently released, which is the lockout settings. So what it actually does is, let's say you just keep entering the wrong password or the wrong credentials, um, and the account will get logged out automatically. So, which is basically as an admin or as an owner of the account, you can define the number of failure attempts that your employee can have within a minimum time range. And if that employee fails to log in during that number of attempts within that particular time range, the account will be automatically logged out. So it's a sort of security measure. Let's say you're running an organization, you have an employee, but someone else is using that employee's account, and that person is not aware of the password for such a particular use case. I'm just saying a simple use case. In that case, there has to be some measure, right, for you to. You cannot use any number of times to keep on trying a password, right? So for that purpose, we have introduced this particular feature where you get locked out, where the admin can set, the highlight being the admin can set the number of failure attempts as well as the minimum time range the employee can have. So these are some of the wide range of password policies that Zoho One has got to offer. So most of us might wonder, mm, is just setting a strong password for my account enough? Is it good enough? To an extent, to be frank, it is. But the additional recommendation that we from our side, like from Zoho side, what we suggest is that you should have a multi-factor authentication. So again, here we are stressing about the importance of having uh, why we should be having the multi-factor authentication. Generally speaking, MFA or multi-factor authentication can be divided into 3 sections, which is something you might have: a password or a security token, or let's say a hardware device, followed by something you know, which is the password or a PIN number or a security question that you have. While you're configuring a password, sometimes they ask you to set a question, right? Security question, right? So those are some things that you know. Now, the third set is something you are, which is your Face ID or your fingerprint. Something like that is the most secure because something you have, let's say a security token, that can be easily taken out. It might be known to a lot of people, or it might be something that's already published on public websites, and it can be cracked into a relatively easier manner. Similarly, something you know. Let's say simple case, people tend to store their passwords, like we have lots of accounts, we might be storing those passwords in spreadsheet, or for that matter even sticky notes. So that's also something that can be easily taken out. by people who are trying to crack into your account, right? So yeah, but the something that you are, that is something that cannot be taken by anyone. So that is how important your fingerprint or your uh, face IDs are. Yes. So I hope you understood a bit about multi-factor authentication. So what I was trying to convey was that passwords, keeping a strong password is important, but from our end, it is recommended that we keep multi-factor authentication. So yeah, so like I was saying, something you are, something that is completely unique for you, say the fingerprint or face ID, uh, it makes it more difficult and unique for the hacker to crack into your account. So recently, we released a new feature called conditional policy that allows your organization to enforce MFA, that is multi-factor authentication, for your users with a wide array of options, starting with the one we'll be talking about in the upcoming slides, that is OneAuth. So this predominantly, OneAuth is an app that predominantly supports Touch ID, push notification, and a couple of more methods. Along with that, we also have Google Auth, email OTP, and the YubiKey model as the multi-factor authentication. So yeah, so all these can be configured here. Now let's move on to experiencing OneAuth. So talking about OneAuth, it's one of our homegrown application, and I'm happy to say that it has around 11.5 million downloads, which is the second most downloaded app in the Zoho ecosystem. We've been working on it for a pretty long time, and we are actually now able to get the benefits out of it. So OneAuth is one of the most secure way to protect your account when compared to YubiKeys or PIN numbers. Actually, most of our employees, specifically our internal employees within Zoho, uh, they just take the case of any people. So we actually use OneAuth within our ecosystem. And so take the case of any employees. People are just tired of maintaining passwords for their own account. They do not want to enter a password, or they do not want the pain of remembering the password each and every time. So what we are currently doing now is we have got the passwordless sign-in, which allows you not to have a password for your account. So what you can do is you can just straight on sign into your email address with just a push notification to your mobile. So you don't really have the pain of maintaining a password for your account. Rather, you can just get a notification to your mobile number. And once you approve it, you're automatically logged into the systems uh, to which you were trying to log in. So yeah, that is about passwordless signing. So some more additional features that we have as part of OneNote is the smart sign-in. So when we talked about password, initially we started by talking about passwords, keeping a strong password. For that, you'll have an email address and then you'll have a password. Next, we moved on to something called this passwordless sign-in. There, we do not have the pain of maintaining a particular password. So that's called passwordless signing. So now you just have to know your credentials. What happens in Smart Sign is that you don't really have to take the time to enter your email address. All you have to do is just open your One Mobile, take the OneAuth app, and then just scan for the QR code on the Zoho accounts page, and that will automatically get you logged into the systems. So this is the Smart Sign-in that is widely available. Again, to highlight some of the benefits that OneNote offers is that it's a single sign-on for all your mobile applications. So if you're logged into one particular app in your mobile application, let's say if you're trying to log into different apps, you will be logged in automatically. Let's say so what I'm trying to say is like, let's say you're logged into your Zoho CRM account and you're looking to log into your Zoho projects or campaigns account. You don't have to take the pain of entering the username and password again. Rather, the single sign-on kicks in and you'll be logged in automatically here. And Zoho's One not only offers the multi-factor authentication for just Zoho apps, it also supports MFA for external apps. Something like if you have a Twitter account or you have a Facebook account, you can make use of MFA for your personal accounts as well. Now, yeah, some of the additional capabilities that are part of Zoho's OneAuth is that you can easily migrate from Google Authenticator. If you're actively using Google Authenticator, we have an option to migrate from Google, and you can get to manage multiple accounts from OneAuth itself. Let's say you have lost access to OneAuth. If you have a passphrase, you can easily recover your account and OneAuth. It's widely available for your iOS, Android, iPad, and Windows machines as well. So these are some of the extended capabilities that OneAuth has got to offer to its customers. So next comes the routing policy. So when you log in to your Zoho account, as soon as you type in your credentials, you'll have multiple ways to actually log into your system. So you can use a password, you can use a password list, or you can use your social login, something like Facebook, Twitter. There are multiple modes to actually log into your systems. So we are routing policy. We have brought in this policy that basically allows you to customize the way your employees logs into the system. Let's say you have two different teams, one from the finance and the other from the sales. And you want your sales employees to log into Zoho just by using the passwordless method. Then by using the routing policy, you can enforce this for your sales team that would allow them to log into the system only using the passwordless method. So it's like giving the admin more control and making the accounts more secure and creating more rules, based on requirements. So this sort of customization can be done via the routing policy. And we also have some of the enhanced security policies as part of Zoho OneAuth. So far, the kind of security policies that you can use in Zoho is the IP restrictions. But today you can enforce IP restriction. Along with it, we have enhanced it more. So what we have done is, like we are bringing in 7 different conditions, like your device compliance, your geographical location, the platform, or if you want your employees to log in only between 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Using this conditional policy, you can define various different rules. Yeah, just for example here, let me put it this way. If someone from your organization logs into Zoho system from India or elsewhere, you want them to deny the access. So yeah, all this can be done. Today Zoho offers the capability for the customers to configure these rules. If you want to deny access when it's logged in a particular way, you can do that. If you want a particular team to be logged into the account only via passwordless sign-in, you can configure that. You as in the admin or the business owner can configure that via routing policy. So all these options are available today within Zoho One. Yeah, so this is how it's going to be in Zoho One admin panel. You get to define which group these conditions needs to be applied for. And you can also define the 7 condition, which is daytime, geographical location, platform, all these different informations. You can also define if they can be provided access or you want them with an additional layer of authentication. So yeah, to reiterate what we have talked so far, we started off with the kind of security threats, the kind of cyber security attacks that we see in the SMBs. We went through 3 case studies for that. We came to know about phishing, phishing mails, phishing attacks, keylogger, and then we talked about physical theft, which is also a sort of uh, becomes the sort of physical theft, which becomes a sort of cybersecurity threat. Then we moved on to how Zoho One is offering to solve these problems that's faced in this dynamic world. So yeah, what Zoho One has got to offer, one auth, the sort of passwords that you are recommended to keep, the multi-factor authentication, the routing policy, the conditional access. These are the topics that we have discussed so far. So yeah, uh, let me know if you have any query, uh, or you would like me to go through any of these slides topics again before we move on to the next topic, which is device management. So yeah, let's move on to device management. Before moving on to device management, we need to have a better context. So yeah, we'll start with decentralized management. Let's say Zoho One offers a wide array of features. For better context, let's see what decentralized management is. According to Okta, a business on an average uses 88 applications to manage their daily businesses. Zoho has got 55 out of them covered, but then how are you going to really manage all your remaining apps or, for that fact, external applications? The reason for decentralized management here is that most of us use Zoho One's admin panel, which is the Zoho Directory, to manage only your Zoho applications. As a business owner or an IT admin, to manage the non Zoho app, let's say, if you want to manage your Asana account, if you want to manage your Salesforce account, you really have to go into each and every app to make sure you onboard your employees, deactivate them, change their rules. So these are some of the steps that you have to follow. So all of it typically makes the life of the admin or the business owner a lot complex. So they have to spend, it's a very time consuming process. Similarly, let's say different apps will have different security levels, and the same way, the users or the employees will be having different login experiences to access various applications. So, how are we really going to solve this? So, actually, Zoho Directory is a one stop solution that allows you to manage your user identities, your apps, your devices, even your Wi Fi's and printers. So, one of the main pain points that an admin faces in the day to day life is managing their employees' life cycle management. So, we are not going to go very much in depth into employee life cycle management and all. But yeah, we'll be looking a part of it. We'll be diving into a part of it. Let's look at that part of employee lifecycle management to know more about device management. Okay. So, how does your employee access their applications that they typically use? Or, let's say, in other words, they typically need a device to access their application. So, that's where the device management in Zoho Directory, or let's say Zoho One, comes into picture. So, that is the relevance of device management. So, how does this basically work? Or what is device management? So, we are extending the solution of single sign on that we discussed earlier. You must have, I'm assuming that you must have understood what a single sign on is. So, yeah, we are extending the solution of single sign on from applications to your devices, as well as what it does is that you will have just one credential to access your device, as well as your downstream apps. People typically maintain a separate password if it's a company's provided device, right? So the way we have solved is that your employees will just have one credential to access both your devices and your applications. It's already available. The thing that I'm trying to explain, right? It's already available, and you might be knowing it if you have already signed up for Zoho Directory as a product. So how does this Zoho's device authentication works? So basically, it works based on an agent. Okay, you just download an agent and install it in the employee's machine, which then automatically will start to take you back to your Zoho directory. So it might sound a little complicated when I'm explaining it with words, but we'll be having a demo of the same. So if you look at this particular screen, we'll have a list of the Mac and Windows devices that are connected to your Zoho directory. And along with that, you'll also have the users who will be having access to these particular devices. So in the directory, you have a app called device management, where you'll be able to see all the associated devices on the devices that have been enrolled, as well as the users who will be having access to those devices. And you also have a column which shows the password status. Is it sync or is it out of sync? Whether the users have synced it to these accounts, these devices or not. So yeah, the account owner will have access to these informations. So that is the gist of device management. Next, let us see a quick video of how the installation works. So here, I'm going to log in as the admin. So once I'm logged in, once I'm logged into Zoho Directory, I'll go to device management. And as you can see, there's just one device currently that is tied to my account so far. So the process that I'm trying to do now is that I'm trying to enroll a new device to my Zoho Directory account. So if you see the top right corner, there is an option, there's a tab called Enroll Device. Now I click the Enroll Device and give the device type. So once I do that, it'll automatically download the agent to your system. And then it's the usual setup process. You will have to run a PKG file. It will be a PKG file if it's Mac, and for Windows, it's an exe file. So then the next couple of steps are the usual installation steps. In between, you'll be asked for the admin password. And once you enter the admin password, then you'll be asked for the installation key. So the installation key is something that will be available in the place where you download the agent. And it's very important. Why is it important? Because it is to make sure that the agent that you're installing typically ties back to the right account and not to a different account. So once you enter the installation key for the password, then they'll ask you for the password, which will be the account password itself. Yeah. So what I was trying to say is that the highlight or the importance that this installation key is that the agent you're trying to install should typically tie back to the right account and not to a different account. So once the installation key and the password are given, the installation is done. Once the installation is successful, and if you move back to the user's account, you can see that the new system is added. Earlier, we just had one device. Now we had the second device that is got added. So if you click on it, you'll get to see a lot of information like device name, the IP, v4 address, the v6 address, and a lot more. This set is also a little important. So once it is installed, what you see here are the local accounts. That is, when you install the machine the first time, or let's say once during the course of buying the new laptop and installing the machine, you would have created some local account. Uh, just that the password would have been maintained locally in the system for the login system. Yeah, we call it the local account. So the local account will be synced along with the device to Zoho Directory. That's how it works. So once we have installed the device, it's important that we, yeah. So yeah, once we have, installed the device, it is important that we bind that particular system to an employee. Only then the employee will have access to the particular device. So what I have done is, this is something called as the local account name. Yeah. So the local account name is something that's very important here, that is to be noted. Whatever the local account you have on the machine should exactly match for the user so that it will have a seamless syncing. So again, if you go back to device management, select the device and let's look at, say, assigning a user. So I'm clicking on the local account here, choosing a user. So what we're doing right now is that we have installed the agent, which is syncing with your Zoho Directory account. And for the device login, you need users, right? So we basically, just like how we assign applications, we are assigning users. So now the user has been assigned, but then you'll be able to see that the password is out of sync. So once in the machine, we have to make sure that it's in a place where they can mutually talk to each other. So yeah, so right now the password is out of sync. Let's see how to sync that. The screen that you see now is that of the user. The user is logged in, and on the top bar, you get a notification that your device has been synced to Zoho Directory and that you have got to sync the password. So to make sure, so this has to be done to make sure that all the passwords across all the devices are in sync. So in this top menu bar, right, that we are seeing now, you just have to enter the password once. And once you enter the password and give sync now, the password will start to sync with the Zoho Directory account. So yeah. So this is the page that, so once the account is synced, once the password is also synced, you will get your account name along with the Zoho Directories logo onto the account where it has been synced. So yeah, so far we have talked about, installing the agents and syncing the passwords. Once the agent is installed and assigned to a user, this is how the login screen will look like. The Zoho Directory managed accounts will be labeled with this particular logo, as well as this particular logo, as well as the user account will have the Zoho Directory's logo on it. If it's not managed by Zoho Directory, it will not have the logo. So all you have to do is you have to enter your Zoho account password to log into your machine, as well as, this is about, yeah, so that's what, you enroll a device, you assign a user, make sure that the password is getting synced. So the next time you enter or you log into your device, all you have to do is you'll just have to give the password once. That's it. You would have logged into rest of your device. You would have logged into rest of your applications. So yeah, let's move on to the next part, which is the password reset part. Okay, so it's the same UI. I'm logged in here. A lot of times the user tends to forget their password, and it's the admin who has to reset the password. So the admin here basically reset the password for the employee. So what it does is it typically generates an OTP that the employee can use to log into their machine. So yeah, so I'm generating an OTP. So once the password is reset, you share it with your employee. As soon as the password is reset again from the, you are getting this. So this is how the user will get a push notification saying that your admin has forced you to change your password. So it's a prompt saying that it needs to be changed. When you get that message, you will be automatically logged out of the system. Yeah, see. Now that you have to enter the one-time password that you received from your admin. And during the course of this password reset process, you can actually set a new password also. I mean, that's the whole purpose, right? So this is how the password reset works with regard to device authentication. So resetting the password for your directory account will also reset the password for your Zoho accounts as well. Now, the final part about device authentication is the deactivation part. Your data should not move out when you move out. That is, let's say, when you are an employee of an organization, you would have accumulated a lot of data, you would have shared data, a lot of sensitive data would have been in your account for a particular period of time, which should not be moving out with you. So, yeah. So, once an employee leaves the organization, all those data has to stay within. So that is why we have this option called deactivation, one of the reasons. So again, it's a one-click process. You just go to the device and, I'm sorry, I'll take it again. Yeah, you just go to device management, deactivate the user will get a message saying that you'll be locked out immediately. And they will not be able to log in unless the account is reactivated again. So yeah, this is about deactivation. So again, just to reiterate whatever we have talked so far, we talked about the security threats, the cybersecurity attacks, how Zoho One is solving this problem by offering one-auth and passwordless sign-in, smart sign-in. We also talked about routing policies, conditional access, all these things that give admin the power to customize customize as well as set certain rules for the employees to create passwords and manage their accounts, especially login and logout. After that, we moved on to decentralized management. We talked about that um, to get an understanding of the challenges faced by IT admins in their day-to-day lives and some of the challenges that they face in managing an employee's life cycle management. In it, we highlighted certain parts of it. So we talked a little bit about device management, how to enroll a new device to your existing account, and how to assign a user to it, and how all this can be done by how all this can be done with Zoho Directory's features, as well as how to sync the password. And then we moved on to see how you can reset the password, as well as how you can deactivate your account. Let's say you're an employee moving out of the organization. So yes, actually that's about today's session. Also, you will be receiving the recording of the session that we've just had. I really hope it was useful and helpful for you. Once again, thank you all for joining. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Vishak, for addressing the questions. Thank you all again. So yeah, we are good to wind up the session. If I believe there aren't any more queries, yeah, we are good to go. Thank you. Have a good day.